guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Kotobukiya Batman and Robin ArtFx statue set. For those wanting to know how tall the statue stands, if you take the top of Batman's cowl, it's roughly a little over 6 inches tall. Now, one of the good things about this particular statue, and I haven't really seen a lot of companies do this, is that each of the figures can be attached to the display stand by magnets, as opposed to pegging them into place. So you can independently take both Robin and Batman off the stand, giving us independent dimensions. The standing height of Robin stands a little, about 3.5 inches tall. And really the display stand didn't do all that much for Batman. He still stands approximately 6 inches tall. The display stand is a heavy metal piece with the complete underside being all a felt surface, so it won't scratch any surface that you might put it on. A nice heavy metal. And again, I really like the fact that the statues stand on these with magnets. I kind of wish that more companies would do this, to be honest, because it really doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room, because technically the display stand isn't all that big to start off with, but it does give you some options for displaying the figures. The Robin, again, has a magnet on the underside of one of his feet, the other one does not, and again, it just attaches right into place. I wouldn't want to try to hold it up by his foot, but you can see how strong the magnet is as it's attaching Robin's foot to the base. But what you can do, I mean, you could have Robin over here if you wanted to. You could have Robin over here. It's entirely up to you. Batman's a little bit larger in size, so he doesn't have as much the clearance as Robin does have. But he does have two very strong magnets on the undersides of his feet, which, attaching it to the base, you can actually lift up the base completely. And here's again what I'm talking about. You could take Robin, you could have Robin over here if you wanted to, or you can have Robin over here. You can have Robin in the middle if you want. It's entirely up to you. You can even have it where they're both facing the same way, or they're facing opposite ways, like they're looking at, villains on either side of them. Let's have a look at the individual figures, and then we'll look at kind of like the whole thing together. Now, both the designs are based from Jim Lee's artwork, which is one of my more favored Batman artists. The coloring here is nice and vibrant, fairly clean actually as well. Robin's got more the paler complexion versus that of Batman. But again, nice vibrant reds, the greens, the little scaling there of his lower trunks. I love the flow of the cape as well. They've given a slight golden yellow coloring in there as well, just in the recessed creases of the cape. I really like that. But the head sculpt is quite nice on Robin. Something that I hoped that they wouldn't have done, and luckily they didn't. I was thinking with the Robin especially, ever so much the trend is to incorporate a lot of blue into hair, especially hair that's black, just to give highlights. I think too much blue would have really ruined this head sculpt. It almost seems like through the magic of camera and lighting, there is blue in there, but it's such a minuscule amount of it that for the most part, and looking at from the distance, the statue still, or Robin at least for that matter, reads more as having black hair and not as blue hair, so I really like that. He comes with technically one accessory. He's the only one that actually comes with an accessory, and that is just a little small batarang. You have to take it, and there's just enough clearance in between his two fingers to wedge the batarang in between them. And you can actually see that you can see the tip of the batarang actually fits all the way through his fingers and gives a nice sense of depth. There is Robin. We'll put Robin right there. And let's have a look at Batman. Now, Batman really turned out nice. Some of the best shading that I've seen on a Batman statue. The grays really pop because they have added this extra darker gray around especially the musculature of his body. You can really see it predominantly here in the thighs and the chest. I love the coloring of the gold. The cowl, the trunks, and cape actually have a nice transitioning of several different colors. As opposed to keeping it solely a gray, or solely a black, they've incorporated a lot of grays, and I love the transitioning of especially the interior of the cape, the areas of the gloves. Actually, in person, it doesn't look as shaded as it does on camera. On camera, it actually looks quite nice. I did notice, though, that on the back of the package, it looks like they've, I don't know, originally intended that the Batman have a slight bit of stubble. Though the final product here, and I don't know if maybe there's variations to the statue, but the initial final product that I'm holding in hands doesn't have the stubble. And I actually think I kind of favor it a little bit more without the stubble, in all honesty, than that little bit of stubble that they incorporated onto his chin. The pose of Batman is very powerful, and it almost slightly adds to, you know, an umbrella or like a shrouded covering protecting Robin here, who's sitting or slightly crouching in front of the Caped Crusader. Collectively or singularly, they are really good looking statues. Like, if you were just to display these on their own, you could have them really kind of on the side. That's the beauty of them. They're pre-posed, but they're not pre-posed in the sense that they can't stand. Sometimes you get statues where the legs or feet are slightly arched, that if you were to take them off the display stand, you really simply couldn't do anything with them. By also not having pegs on the undersides of their feet, one of the beautiful things of it is that you can actually still stand them. You don't have to worry about a big nuisance of a peg sticking out from the undersole of his feet that Batman still could perfectly stand on his own. And you can have Robin and Batman kind of back to back. You could kind of have them looking forward to each other. It's interesting, though, that Batman has also a peg hole on the underside of his foot. I don't know if perhaps initially the idea was that these were going to be pegged into place, but I much more favor the fact that they chose magnets over a big peg. Again, they look perfectly on their own, but again, if you incorporate that to a stand, and we can just bring the stand over by virtue of Batman, collectively they look perfect together. This is one statue that unfortunately I didn't pick up earlier. Comic book stores just didn't have it in my area, but eventually when they did stock them, it was definitely one that I wanted to pick up. Statue stands, well, it's a little over $100, and in all honesty, being that this is one of my new favorite Batman statues, I think it's well worth it. You can find this on, aftermarket. You can certainly also go to your local comic book stores, and you probably will be able to find this. If you're a Batman fan, though, I would highly recommend it. It's a beautiful looking piece. Today we were checking out the Kotobukiya ArtFx. This was the Batman and Robin statue. Divided, they certainly are strong statues. Bring them together, though, and on this magnetic stand, awesome. Awesome. If you guys haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that little subscribe button down below, and if Kotobukiya is your thing, you can also head over to my Kotobukiya playlist, where you can check out all the older videos that I've recorded featuring Kotobukiya pieces. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.